Hey, it's Ryan back again with another great special edition of the Bluffton Buzz. We're talking to the local politicians who are running for different county and state seats here. We also had a few Congress folks. Today, I have Charity Owens with me, and Charity's running for District 118. Before we get started, I'd really like to thank the Greater Bluffton Chamber of Commerce for helping me line these interviews up. It has been a godsend, and I greatly appreciate it. Charity, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So let's start at the beginning. Who is Charity Owens? How did you get into this? Tell me about yourself.
Well, I am a veteran, um, small business owner, and a mother of six. And so I moved here a few years ago, and I just saw a huge discrepancy in the way that our elderly were passing. Um, we've lost a lot of clients due to heart attacks and strokes because of the lack of trauma centers in our area. And I just felt like it was a reason to stand up and say, hey, we need to talk about the majority of our constituents here and how they're not being taken care of.
Okay. So let's start here. You were a vet. What were you doing? What kind of military?
Army, U.S. Army.
Okay. What was your
Chemical
job?
Well, I was a chemical specialist,
Okay.
CBRN, and basically we dealt with neutralizing chemical, biological, and nuclear radiological things, which is pretty chill.
Just your common everyday stuff.
Right.
Where were you stationed at mostly?
Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Okay. And did you go overseas at all?
I did not.
Okay, cool. So you did a lot of like special chemical training. You said you are a small business owner. Tell me about your business.
Well, I have a home healthcare franchise here in Bluffton. And so we take care of the elderly and disabled community. We have about 70 employees here in Bluffton, but we also take care of people in Jasper and Carlton County. And we also have a real estate brokerage here as well. Uh,
Okay.
yeah,
So you're doing home health care and you have a real estate brokerage.
I do.
Okay. So talk to me more about the healthcare and the elderly. That seems to have been your trigger into wanting to get involved locally in the political realm. What specifically are you doing with elderly folks right now? What type of elderly folks are you helping? Where geographically? What are your services that you provide?
Well, we're helping the elderly from Hilton Head all the way to Walterboro, to be honest with you. Anyone that cannot live their normal day, you get to the age where you're so independent for all of your life, and then all of a sudden you can't take a bath on your own or feed yourself or take your own medication. And so we're just personal assistants. We come in and we just make sure that you live your later days with dignity. Um, and so, um, what was the rest of the question?
The question was just really what specifically you do. I asked like
Yeah.
where, and then like so you're a personal aid to the elderly, and then
Yes.
what happened was that you saw folks dying too quickly, or they weren't getting the right care. Like what made you say I'm doing this as a career, but I want to start helping, as an elected leader.
Well, too quickly would be a word, most definitely. Everybody has their time, I guess, but I'll say that when you have a heart attack and you have a stroke or something, you need trauma one centers that will be able to help you quickly to save your life so that you don't die prematurely. A lot of our clients are traveling to Savannah and Charleston in order to receive specialty care. Specialty care, might I add, that they may not even need if they weren't on the waiting list for the primary care physicians here in Beaufort for so long. And so we have had a lack in care. I've spoken with physicians here, and their calendars are overwhelmed. They're seeing too many clients because the doctors and the emergency rooms are not equipped to handle the volume of people. If you look at Sun City alone, I mean, we have this immense amount of people who are over the age of 55, and they need that care that we're lacking.
Okay, so we're lacking healthcare.
Yes.
It seems to be your main point that concerns you. What other points do you feel like our county, our district, what concerns you with that? What are you advocating for?
Well, to be honest with you, oh, well, there are so many different issues that we can talk about, but I
Just
would
take
like
one at a time, or pick the ones that concern you the most. Honestly, what
yeah,
energizes you?
yeah, we're number 49 in the national school ranking, right? And that's South Carolina as a whole. And so, as I speak with the teachers, they are severely underpaid, and we need to make sure that our children are being equipped to handle um, the later years in life after high school properly with a proper education.
Mm,
Um, and so, also, another issue that we're having here in Bluffton, right? I'm a veteran and I believe in
mhm,
gun rights. Okay. And this is a very controversial issue, right?
mhm,
Because people don't want their Second Amendment rights to be taken away. And I think that's absolutely ridiculous. Who wants to take away anyone's Second Amendment rights? I mean, we're protect ourselves here. I mean,
mhm,
and so, but we want to make sure that 19-year-olds and 18-year-olds aren't walking around with these semi-automatic rifles without training or permits. I mean, you need a permit to go fishing. You need a license to drive, but you don't need a license to have a semi-automatic weapon. And it just doesn't make sense. And so right now, we need common sense laws that will make sure that we're all safe, right? We're not trying to take away anybody's rules. We're not trying to add anything, but we want to make sure that we are all protected and we all have proper education, and and healthcare is a fundamental right. So
Okay, so we have the healthcare we started with. We have school ranking, which I want to touch on in a second. Gun control, which is, like you said, it is a very hot and fiercely debated. And then you mentioned healthcare overall at the end
yes.
there. Go a little deeper into that healthcare overall for me, real quick. What specifically is it? Is it the ability to get care? Is it the cost of it?
Well, yeah, I would say all of the above. Number one, we're missing out on $1.8 billion a year in federal funds because the current representatives refuses to expand Medicaid. That right there would um, equip over 350,000 more people here in South Carolina with the proper care that they need. And I'm not talking about any handouts, which people automatically jump to, oh, this is a welfare thing. But no, we pay for Medicaid every day when we pay taxes.
Mhm.
Why aren't we receiving these funds? And furthermore, when we turn away these funds, they're going to other states. And so other states are benefiting from the funds that I would say, we inherit just because we pay for them.
Hmm. Never thought about it that way. So you're saying the Medicaid that's coming out of our checks is going to the federal Medicaid, but it's not trickling back down to us.
Yes, that is what I'm
Interesting.
saying.
Very, very interesting. I never thought about it that way. Didn't look into it. I just see it as a tax, and I just figured it does what it does, and I never get to see it anyway. But to think about it that way, to help other people. So how would you navigate that? How could you, as an elected representative, start trying to pull those funds back towards us?
We just need to make sure. One second, sorry.
Yeah. You muted yourself, Charity.
Yeah. So, as a representative, we need to reach across the aisles, right? We need to have talks with the other side. I mean, a house divided will always fall. And we need to make sure that the money is being allotted in the correct places. We're not spending too much money on things that don't matter versus things that will benefit us more in the long run. And so it's about taking a thorough look at where we're at right now and have a very detailed plan on where we want to go in the next 10 to 20 years.
Okay. Um, let's work our way back to gun rights. And hey, hairy subject. I am all for the Second Amendment as well, and I actually don't go with one side or the other. I'm an independent. I'm right in the middle, which is why I like doing this and having these conversations. Don't disagree that there should be some trainings involved. I think, I mean, if I were to have a perfect world and we were to like actually use tax money, we should like create some sort of program where everybody does get some sort of training. If you have a gun, you have to get trained. I think that would be huge, right? That makes sense.
Right.
The converse and flip side of that is always seems to be the bad guys with the guns that are never registered or not theirs that are doing a lot of the trouble anyway, right? So it's like, how do we navigate those two lanes because they both exist?
Well, um, hmm. We want to make sure that we have some type of accountability with the NRA, right? The NRA is the one that's dishing out all of these guns. Maybe we should make them pay for it when our children are shot up in schools. Um, Also, we need to have tighter, I'll say, regulations when it comes to making sure that those 3 day, just general background checks are actually being held. I mean, if you need a gun, you can't wait 3 days. And so there are small changes that we need to make. I know that we have an issue right now with ghost guns, and people, if they want a gun, they're going to get it. But we need to make sure that the rules and regulations that we have right now in place are actually being followed before we start to make more rules that won't even apply unless we have our foundation in place.
I fully agree there. Again, I'm right down the middle on everything, and I feel like there needs to be some accountability for those that own the guns. And if these guns get used, why weren't they reported lost, missing, or otherwise? Yeah, I think a story just came out last night. There was in Beaufort. I don't know if you saw that or not. A bunch of kids shooting at each other, and then they were rushing to the hospital, got in a car accident, and the other two died. And it's terrible. These
Yeah.
kids shouldn't be doing this kind of stuff, you know? So where did they get these guns? Why are they what are they doing? We need to there's a lot more than just guns in this too. It's and
Right.
it starts at home for sure, but there's also other programs where we need to start enabling people to think outside of this world where they just think, and especially I don't know why these younger kids just think the answer is just going to start popping off shots. Oh, I don't like you. Let's start shooting. That doesn't even make sense.
Some mental health there, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So we need to start training these people being the kids and everybody, honestly, a little more just, as you said, common sense, think goes a long way with how do we position ourselves to start teaching our youth that this is not the way. What it
Right.
just isn't.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. And it starts from a young age. And we have a lot of families around here that like to teach their children how to handle guns, but we also need to make sure that while we're teaching them how to handle guns, that we teach them the proper way to deal with other issues such as bullying and
Yeah.
just self identity crisis that we all go through at the age of 18, which is
Mhm.
another reason why I feel like it's absolutely ridiculous to allow an 18-year-old who's don't even know left or right or where they want to go in life to wield a gun after, you know, all the things that we've experienced from the past. We need to start learning from our experiences. It's all I need to say on that.
Charity, you were in the army. They didn't just give you the gun and say, go get at it. You put hours into training with that thing.
I slept with my gun. I went to the restroom with my gun. Like, what are you guys saying? So, yeah.
Yeah, it's I agree with you there. Now I'm working my way back up your list, and it's something else that really tugs at my heartstrings. The school ranking, 49. That's ugly. I mean, nobody should be 49. You would hate to even know that there's like everybody should be tied at second in our country. How about that? That's as low as I want to go. So 49. We got
Right.
problems. I hear them a lot. You know, I have two kids now. I got a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. We don't send him to any kind of public institution. I don't think we are unless things change. That's me personally. I hear a lot of that from other folks. How do we get our school system to be a better school system? How do we get the right teachers here? How do we give them the right training? How do we get enough of them here in a growing area? Like, what are your thoughts on all that?
Um, there are so many different factors, and I'm with you on that. Two of my children are homeschooled, right? And
Mhm.
so I'm putting my two older school. They go to May River High School, which are one of the best schools here
Right next door to me, right
in
here. Yep.
South Carolina. So they're pretty good, you know.
Yep.
But overall, we need to make sure that our teachers are supported. And that starts by talking to them, seeing what they actually need. I can think of a million things, but I'm not a school teacher. And so I don't know what they need until we actually come together as a community. And I know number one is that they need money, right? They need a raise. They
Mhm.
also need to be able to live in the community that they're working in. I mean, you're traveling all of these miles to work in a place where you can't live. It's taken away from work life balance. And then not only that, but you're being offered more money in a whole nother state. And so there are a lot of different factors that we need to iron out. I would say to adopt, like you said, if we could all be number one and number two, that would be awesome. But let's start by looking at number one and number two, see what they have done to achieve those goals. And I would say let's stop throwing things at the wall and hoping that they stick and actually go with a plan that we know will work. And that's, I would say making an example of the first schools, and I would believe that's, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's Florida. They're pretty good in a few Midwestern schools. And so we need to adopt their plans, in my opinion.
Hey, look, I'm all for smarter, not harder. So if there's a way that's successful, why not just copy it, right?
Right.
Okay. You mentioned talking to teachers. Now, this is your first jump into politics, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Have you gone out and talked to the public? Do you go to a lot of events and listen to people, or tell me about that?
Absolutely. I speak with teachers, I speak with doctors, I speak with lawyers. Um, and I think that Bluffton has some really smart people here, right? We don't have extremists on the other end. People just want the fair and right thing to be done here. And when I speak with teachers, they all say the same thing. We're not being supported. And I ask them in what way. We need more money. We're being offered more money in other states. So why should we stay here? Um, Police officers are saying the same thing. We're not making enough money. We're putting ourselves in jeopardy, and we're making minimum wage. So it's a public servant issue is what we're having here. Not just a teacher, but it will trickle down. It'll trickle down on our community and it'll trickle down on our children if we do not support the people that support us.
No, I agree with that. How do you go about, let's say you get into office? Is it an open door policy? How do people find you? How do you communicate with people and truly hear them?
Well, I'm a business owner, and so my phone number is available 24/7 anyways. And so I always give people my phone number. I'll give it to you right now. 843-505-7887. Call me 24/7. Now, I may not pick up the phone, okay? But you can text me, leave a voicemail and I'll do my best to call you back as soon as possible.
Don't let them call you 24/7. They will. Set business hours. Give them your email. Get a second phone. That's what I needed to do. No, I know I understand what you're saying, and I appreciate that. I think that's big. Um, you know, I've talked to some folks who have been doing this for 20 plus years recently. And I think one big thing is on everybody's mind is transparency, no matter what side of the aisle you're on. And I think social media helps that because you can't really hide from it otherwise, right? So it's like, why not be transparent and help with that communication and also have that open door policy online?
Right,
I think the more you show, the more people are going to trust and believe in you.
right.
So do you use social media to reach out to folks now? Are you using it as part of your campaign? How does that work?
Absolutely. We do have a social media. not huge on social media. I don't spend all majority of my time, trying to see what other people have going on in their lives. But I do. I will post, and I'll let you know what's going on. And if I see a message come through, I'll try to respond as soon as possible. And my social media across the board is Owens for 118.
Owens for 118. I actually see it in front of my screen here. That's like I'm looking at your Instagram. It's at Owens OWENS 4FOR, not the number four.
Yes.
118. If
Yes.
anybody's interested in checking that out. Um, I'm a small business owner as well. I think it's really tough to find employees. How have you been doing with that?
Ooh, well, it has been a journey.
Yeah.
I just say that we need to find balance and that people know what they're worth, right? And so if they want more and we can't afford to give them more, then they need to know that so that they can find the job that suits them.
Mhm.
Um, I am trying my best to pay people as much as possible as well as stay in business. And so as long as we stay in constant communication with them and try to give them as much as they need in order to live a healthy life themselves, we've done a pretty good job. Like I said, right now we have over 70, we're around 75 employees um, that we employ here in Bluffton. But we're definitely hiring all the time. That is the only way that a business can grow is if you hire and you kind of place yourselves in a way that you can expand. And so we're definitely looking to expand, and we're always getting new clients as well. So
No, that's good. That's very good. You're having much better luck than I am. I will say that. You know what the hard part is as a small business owner, and I know anybody listen to this that's an employee, right? Like it's a team effort. Number one, so it's not like one's over another in my mind. But $30 an hour, let's just make a number up. $30 an hour now today is not what it was in 2020 and
it's
2016.
not
It's not. It doesn't go far. We live in a very expensive area, both geographically. I'm in the construction business. I just had to write an email to somebody today that's not from our area originally. They couldn't believe the pricing, and I wasn't the only contractor, but I was the only one. He said that wrote back and told him we aren't Charlotte. We don't have the liquidity of Charlotte, Atlanta, Jacksonville. We have a lot higher costs to everything we do.
right.
How do you think we can bring those costs down? Because that way, even if you can't give somebody the rate of inflation we're going at every year, how do you think, especially as somebody that's going to be an elected leader, how can we work on bringing that down?
Um, Number one is taxes. They're trying to go up on our taxes, which I don't understand why, when everyone's struggling, from
Yeah.
the medium to small business owners to the employees. And so they know that we have inflation going on. And to add another bill or to add another expense to me is ridiculous. And so we should start there with supporting the business owners, making sure that, and I'm sorry, I have a little baby girl here, um, and make sure that the price of doing business will not put Bluffton out of business, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. That's a good way to put it. Um, Let me ask you this. Speaking of taxes, do you see, like, I asked online, I asked, some questions online and people asked, do you think that we could ever get to be a income tax free state? What's your thoughts on that?
I don't really have thoughts on that. I don't not believe that that is an option. We need taxes. We need to have some type of balance, right? Pay into the system in order to keep things going on both ends, right? We have to make sure that we have infrastructure and make sure that sustainability, and that's going to take um, tax money, to be frank. And so I just don't think that we should go up on the taxes right now.
Got
Uh,
it.
right now we should make sure that the people of America know that they're supported. We have went through a lot during COVID. Now we're just now digging ourselves out, and we have to look at everyone and not just the working people, but also the business owners as well. So sorry.
Absolutely. Um, all right, let me ask you this. On my hoodie, it says built with integrity. That's our slogan here at Bluffton Builders, right? That's our tagline. Um, how is charity built with integrity?
Oh, okay. Well, most definitely. I go on 5 principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I have traveled the world and I realized that we have something called universal truth. And if we all just live in love and just appreciate one another, then we will go a long way. And that starts with speaking truth, living with justice and integrity across the board, and looking at people and seeing the light within them, and not being so judgmental, and being able to listen and communicate and actually figure out who we're talking to, and what purpose they have here in this world. I'm a big love bug, I would say.
Okay, I like that. Um, do you have anything else to say to the people before we wrap this up?
Well, all I have to say is that I'm here to stay. Bluffton's my home, okay? And I want to represent you and represent my children, like we will be here for the next 30 to 50 to 100 years. And that means that we should start now. And it's not just my thoughts and opinions on what I feel like we need to do in order to move forward, but yours as a community. So if you were to vote for me, I would give you my word right now that I would represent you and not just the 1%.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. Charity Owens, thank you so much for joining me again. Thanks to the Greater Bluffton Chamber of Commerce for helping put these interviews together. Charity, good luck, ma'am. I hope to see
Thank
you
you.
around town.
Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you around town as well.
All right, take care. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.